Your mind is racing again, isn't it? Those endless loops of what if and why did I, spinning faster than prayer wheels in a mountain monastery. Each revolution pulling you deeper into a vortex of analysis that leads nowhere but exhaustion. You lie awake at night replaying conversations, predicting disasters that may never come, dissecting decisions until they crumble into dust. You're not broken, and you're certainly not alone in this mental storm that feels like it might consume you. The modern world has turned our minds into perpetual motion machines, grinding through scenarios and possibilities until we forget what stillness feels like. But what if I told you that 2,500 years ago, a prince who became the Buddha faced this exact same torment and discovered something profound? What if the very mind that feels like your greatest enemy could become your wisest teacher? Today we'll explore 6 profound Buddhist teachings that can transform your relationship with overthinking forever. These aren't mere concepts floating in philosophical clouds. They're keys forged in the fires of human suffering, tested by millions of practitioners, ready to unlock the prison your mind has built around itself. The first understanding comes from recognizing what the Buddha called papanka, mental proliferation, the mind's tendency to spin simple experiences into complex narratives of worry and doubt. Picture a single pebble thrown into a still pond. The initial impact is tiny, but the ripples spread outward endlessly. Your thoughts work exactly like this. One small worry, maybe you said something awkward at work, becomes a tsunami of self-analysis. Did they think I was stupid? Will this affect my promotion? What if everyone is talking about me right now? But here's what changes everything. Your thoughts aren't you. They're like clouds passing through the vast sky of awareness. The sky never fights the clouds, never judges them as good or bad. It simply allows them to arise and dissolve naturally. When you catch yourself spiraling into analysis paralysis, pause and label what's happening with gentle precision. Thinking, or worrying. This simple acknowledgement breaks the hypnotic spell that thoughts cast over consciousness. I remember observing a young monk in our monastery who would sit for hours, his face contorted with concentration, fighting every thought that arose during meditation. His struggle was visible, jaw clenched, shoulders tense, breathing shallow. One morning his teacher sat beside him and whispered, "Are you meditating, or is meditation happening despite your interference?" The moment he stopped fighting his thoughts and started observing them like leaves falling from an ancient Bodhi tree, his whole body softened into natural stillness. The practice here is revolutionary in its simplicity. Don't fight the thoughts, witness them. When overthinking begins, imagine you're sitting by a riverbank, watching logs float by. Some logs are labeled work stress, others relationship concerns, still others future fears. Your job isn't to stop the river or grab the logs, just watch them pass. This gentle observation activates what we call the witness consciousness, the part of you that remains forever untouched by mental turbulence. But why does this witnessing work so powerfully when everything else has failed? Because it reveals a shocking truth. The second teaching exposes the illusion of control that feeds overthinking like oxygen feeds fire. We suffer because we grasp at outcomes, like children clutching sand. The tighter we squeeze, the more it slips through our fingers. Your overthinking mind believes that if it can just analyze enough variables, predict enough possibilities, rehearse enough scenarios, it can guarantee the future you want. This is the ego's grandest delusion. I once observed a novice monk frantically polishing the same Buddha statue for hours, believing that achieving perfect shine would bring him the peace he desperately sought. His cloth moved in obsessive circles, his breathing shallow with anxiety. Each perceived imperfection sent him back to polish again. His teacher approached quietly and asked with infinite gentleness, "Are you cleaning the statue, or is the statue cleaning you?" The question pierced through the young monk's mental fog, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. The breakthrough came when he realized his attachment to the outcome. The perfect statue, the spiritual achievement, the sense of control was the very source of his suffering. He was polishing his anxiety, not the bronze. Your overthinking often stems from this same desperate need to control every variable in your life's equation. You replay conversations, trying to rewrite history. You rehearse future confrontations, trying to script reality. You analyze every decision until the options become meaningless noise. The practice here is both simple and radical. When you notice the mental grasping beginning, when you feel your mind reaching for control like desperate fingers trying to catch smoke, take 3 conscious breaths and whisper these words like a prayer. I release my need to know everything right now. Feel those words settle into your nervous system. Notice how your shoulders might drop, how your jaw might soften. This isn't giving up, it's giving over to the intelligence that keeps your heart beating without your conscious effort. Yet there's something even deeper at work in your restless mind, something the Buddha understood about the very nature of existence itself. The third wisdom addresses what Buddhists call dukkha of change, the suffering that comes from resisting life's fundamentally impermanent nature. Your overthinking mind is like a person trying to hold water in cupped hands, panicking as each drop inevitably escapes. It tries to solve tomorrow's problems with yesterday's information, trapped between the regret of what was and the anxiety of what might be, never resting in the fluidity of what is. Consider how a river moves. It's never the same water from moment to moment, yet it's always recognizably the river. The water doesn't resist its flow, doesn't overthink its destination, it simply moves with natural intelligence toward its ultimate home in the ocean. You keep trying to stop this flow, to freeze one perfect moment and analyze it to death, to make the impermanent permanent through the sheer force of mental effort. A student once came to me drowning in anxiety about an upcoming job interview. She had rehearsed every possible question, planned responses to scenarios that might never occur, worried about outcomes beyond her influence. "Teacher," she said, "I can't stop my mind from spinning through all the possibilities." I asked her to sit by the monastery pond and watch the koi fish for just 10 minutes. At first she fidgeted, her mind still churning with preparation strategies. But gradually, she became absorbed in the fish's effortless movement through water. The fish, I explained when she returned, doesn't overthink its swimming. It doesn't analyze the water or worry about tomorrow's current. It simply moves with perfect presence through this moment's conditions. Her insight bloomed like a lotus opening to sunlight. She was trying to live in every moment except the one actually happening. The antidote is practicing what we call just this moment awareness. When overthinking begins its familiar spiral, ground yourself immediately in sensory experience. Feel your feet making contact with the earth. Notice the exact temperature of air entering your nostrils. Hear the subtle sounds your environment makes when you really listen. This isn't escapism. It's coming home to the only moment where peace actually exists, where life actually happens. But what if your mind rebels against this radical simplicity? What if the thinking becomes even more intense when you try to be present? The fourth teaching illuminates a subtle trap that catches even sincere practitioners, what the masters call wrong concentration, using meditation or mindfulness as another weapon against yourself. Many people turn Buddhist practices into perfectionist projects, judging their wandering minds and creating new layers of mental commentary about their mental commentary. It's like trying to calm turbulent water by pressing it down with your hands. The more force you apply, the more agitated it becomes. I've seen countless students transform meditation into another arena for self-criticism. They sit in perfect posture, attempting to achieve some imagined state of thoughtless bliss, then punish themselves when normal human mental activity continues. "I'm failing at meditation," they confess, as if the mind's natural tendency to think were a spiritual crime. This approach turns inner peace into another goal to achieve, another way to prove worthiness, another mountain to climb with the exhausted ego leading the expedition. True mindfulness is utterly gentle, like a mother's touch on a fevering child's forehead. When thoughts arise during practice, and they will arise, because that's what minds do, greet them like unexpected but welcome guests. You don't slam the door in their faces or pretend they aren't there. You acknowledge them with kind awareness. Oh, hello anxiety. Oh, hello planning mind. Thank you for visiting. Then gently return attention to your breath, like returning to an old friend's warm embrace. The magic isn't in having no thoughts. It's in fundamentally changing your relationship with thinking itself. Imagine thoughts as weather patterns moving through the vast sky of consciousness. You don't take weather personally. You don't feel insulted by rain or proud of sunshine. Weather simply arises, moves through and dissolves according to natural laws. Your thoughts work exactly the same way, but somewhere along the line, you started taking them personally, fighting them as if they were invasions rather than natural phenomena. A curious paradox emerges when you stop fighting your mind, when you cease treating thoughts like enemies to be defeated. The fifth understanding comes from embracing what Zen masters call don't know mind, perhaps the most liberating concept in all of Buddhist philosophy. Your overthinking often masks a deeper terror of uncertainty, yet uncertainty is woven into the very fabric of existence. Every breath you take is a journey into the unknown. Your heart beats without consulting your preferences. Seasons change without seeking permission. The universe operates on principles far more vast and intelligent than your mind's desperate need for guarantees. A student once approached me, drowning in decision-making anxiety about whether to leave her corporate job to pursue art. She had created spreadsheets of pros and cons, consulted countless friends, researched statistics until her eyes burned. "Teacher," she pleaded, "how do I know I'm making the right choice?" Her voice carried the weight of someone who believed that perfect analysis could eliminate life's inherent risks. I handed her a blank piece of paper and a pen. "Write down everything you truly know about what your life will look like 1 year from today." She stared at the empty page for several minutes, pen hovering uncertainly. Then, slowly, a smile began to spread across her face, growing into quiet laughter. "I can't write anything," she realized. "I don't know anything for certain," and in that recognition of not knowing, she found profound freedom. The practice is learning to sit with uncertainty like you would sit beside a quiet mountain lake, not trying to see the bottom through deep water, just appreciating the mystery of depth. When your mind demands answers it cannot possibly have, when it insists on guarantees that don't exist in this fluid universe, respond with curious acceptance. "I wonder what will unfold. I'm available to whatever comes." This isn't passive resignation or spiritual bypassing, it's active trust in life's intelligence. The same intelligence that grows flowers from seeds and heals cuts without your conscious intervention. But even this might feel too difficult when you're in the grip of mental torment. Which brings us to the ultimate medicine. The sixth and final teaching reveals the secret that transforms everything, cultivating what the Buddha called metta, loving kindness toward your own struggling mind. You've been at war with your thoughts for so long, treating your mental activity like an enemy to be defeated, a problem to be solved, a weakness to be overcome. But what if those very thoughts, even the obsessive ones that feel like torture, were arising from your psyche's deepest desire to protect and care for yourself? Your overthinking mind is like an overprotective parent who never learned that constant vigilance doesn't equal love, that worry isn't the same as caring. It scans for threats, rehearses defenses, prepares for disasters, all because it believes this mental armor will keep you safe. It means well, this anxious guardian, even when its methods exhaust you. Place your hand gently on your heart and speak to your overthinking mind like a wise grandmother addressing a worried grandchild. "I see you trying so hard to keep me safe. I feel how much you care, how desperately you want everything to be okay. Thank you for working so tirelessly, but we're actually okay right now. We can rest together." This isn't self-indulgence or spiritual bypassing. It's the recognition that inner criticism has never led anyone to lasting peace. I remember a businessman who came to our monastery retreat after what he described as a nervous breakdown from overthinking. He could barely sit still for 5 minutes without his mind erupting into catastrophic scenarios about his company's future. During one guided loving-kindness meditation, he began sobbing, not from sadness, but from the shock of treating himself with gentleness for the first time in decades. "I never realized," he said afterward, "how cruel I've been to my own mind. I've been like a drill sergeant screaming at a tired soldier, demanding better performance when what I needed was compassion." That retreat became the turning point where his relationship with thinking fundamentally transformed. When you consistently apply these 6 teachings, witnessing thoughts as clouds, releasing the need for control, embracing impermanence, practicing gentle awareness, accepting uncertainty, and offering yourself loving kindness, something extraordinary happens. The volume of mental chatter naturally decreases, not through force but through understanding. You discover that beneath all the thinking lies an ocean of stillness that was never actually disturbed by the surface waves of mental activity. Your overthinking mind isn't your enemy, it's a misguided friend, learning to trust the wisdom of not knowing, the intelligence of presence, the safety that comes not from having all the answers, but from knowing you can handle whatever questions arise. And in that trust, in that fundamental shift from fighting to flowing, you'll find the inner peace that was never actually lost, only temporarily obscured by the clouds of endless analysis. The monastery bells are calling us home to this moment, to this breath, to this perfect stillness that exists right now beneath all the noise. Will you answer that call? If these teachings resonated with your journey, consider subscribing for more transformative Buddhist wisdom, and share in the comments which insight spoke most directly to your experience of finding peace within the storm.